Good morning. Again, my name is Bob Purdon, and I'm a retired trainer, management consultant in particularly automotive sales, but I believe the principles that I'm going to share will apply to a lot of people in the sales profession. So instead of crawling under a rock after retiring, I wanted to share with you folks the essence of success that I saw in this business that could seem to be complicated, upside down, and what have you. To give you an idea of a compass of success, I'm going to share with you our Bill of Rights that was published by the dealership JM Lexus in Margate, Florida, where I was the in-house trainer for 12 years. The dealership enjoyed the reputation of being number one in the world for 25 years. I wasn't there all the time, but the fellow who was there before me came out of the same school that I did. So I'm going to read it to you, and this is in our opinion, this is the compass for success, and it was the dealership's compass. It wasn't mine only. Everybody believed this, and that's why it was a culture in the dealership. Welcome to JM Lexus, the Bill of Rights. Regardless of your buying intention, you are entitled to the following distinctive experience. And I want to repeat, regardless of your buying intention, it made no difference whether they were going to buy today or not to us, as long as they experienced these factors. Courteous professional assistance from trained associates, thorough answers to all your questions, a complete presentation of the Lexus product, including all features and benefits, knowledgeable guidance during the selection process, which was to us number one goal, have the customer select a vehicle. Then we could build on that. We also had a tour of the award-winning service facility that really impressed customers, particularly the ladies. Offered a simple pricing process without obligation. They did not have to be a buyer. We would look at their trade. If the trade was going to be a factor, if they were going to sell their car to us, we would look at the car. Professional guidance also with their finance and lease options. We give them a complete concentrated presentation on all the factors of leasing and finance. Complete review of the warranty and general service requirements, and continuous follow-up to ensure your ongoing satisfaction. This is our commitment to you. Jim Dunn was our general manager, vice president general manager, and again, nobody supported this Bill of Rights more than he did. We eliminated the questions of where do we go with a customer, regardless of their posture. It made no difference. The lady without the husband without the wife, the shopper, the looker, the children, neighbor, made no difference. If the person walked into our door and met a greeter that we did have, full-time greeters, not receptionists, greeters, to meet the customer and document it. When they walked through that door, this is what was offered to them. And we put it in writing and presented it to them so there'd be no question that we would hold anything back, because we had no intention of holding anything back. Why did we put this particular Bill of Rights in print and offer it to anybody that walked in, because the backdrop was the shopping that we had done all the time. In over 12 years, it was at least 720 people documented got shopped. Those shopping reports told us that there were very few greetings, very few presentations, very few demonstrations, very few write-ups on an automobile, almost no appraisals. So what it was telling us was we didn't have competition in the proactive world. Did they sell cars? Yes, because people would be like me, a natural buyer. They would walk into these places and with the intent of purchasing an automobile at a low percentage, but intent to purchase a car, they would buy a car. So these people obviously did business, but with the natural buyer. We had our share. And we didn't see the natural buyer from another dealership who lived in the area and wanted to do business locally. So we weren't worried about that either. We had plenty of customers in our own range, our own world. Offer prices to Mrs. Levine, who's sent out by her husband to get figures on cars or to look at cars and pick a car? As they told us consistently when they were out alone, they would be ignored, not taken seriously, and get a price, forget it. They would be invited to bring their husband back. I sent out 2 ladies who were going to shop for us, and these 2 ladies individually did not know each other. They said they are the buyer. They didn't buy with their husband. They went out and found the vehicle and bought it. They both went to 3 dealerships apiece. Of the 3 dealerships, how many gave them a chance to buy? 1. Ours. Why didn't they have a chance to buy at another dealership that they found vehicles they liked? Because they were told, go home and get your husband and come back. So we found out we did not have price competition. So quoting prices to buyers and non-buyers had no relevance to us. We were going to go ahead and offer everything to everybody so they would be on the same purchasing platform, if you will, as a buyer. So we didn't have the problems of pick and choose who, what, when, where. All we did was go very forward proactively with the best possible service and information. What I'm trying to stress here is there are 2 roads that can be taken. The road of worrying about when I'm going to sell something, or displacing that concern and pre-qualifying with the process. This is a process. Again, we would do what? Greet the customers, hand our card, ask their name, and write their name down. Sit them down if they didn't know what they were looking for. If they did know what they were looking for, we would walk over and make a presentation on the automobile. We would then set the stage for the demonstration. From the demonstration, we would come back, and hopefully with that much information, they would be able to select something they like, whether it be Mrs. Levine, who is not buying today, or whoever it might be. As long as they shared with us the fact that they liked a vehicle that we had, we knew we had an opportunity to do business today or tomorrow. We also knew that if we went the distance with Mrs. Levine, taking her through the process, looking at her trade, sitting her down, talking about pricing, offering finance terms, lease terms, all of those things. We know what would happen when she finally got home. Just like those two ladies I sent out. She would go home, sit down with her husband later in the day, and he would say, "How'd you do?" She says, "Okay." But the problem is I couldn't get anywhere with these dealerships except one. Who's that? JM Lexus. Thank you. And that's how we increased our be-back business, because we were the only ones who didn't hesitate to give all the information, including prices, to anybody that had any interest. We also knew that if we had no selection from the customer for whatever reason, we weren't going to do business. We knew that it wasn't the price that was the major issue, it was the selection of the automobile that made the difference. That's what would pull the pieces together to do business today or tomorrow. That would be the reason that if they couldn't do business today, they have a tendency to come back to see us, because we had the product that they had focused on, or she had focused on. So all of those roadblocks that the business puts in front of themselves mentally is what actually gives a great opportunity for someone who doesn't think of those roadblocks but knows how to handle them. Now, what do I mean by knowing how to handle them? We know that the customers that come into our dealerships are not completely comfortable. There's always the risk of them not really being pleased about the business, the reputation, if you will. And we know that they would walk in, and what would they do? They would walk in and disguise their intention. Many times, if not most of the time. And what do I mean by disguising their intention? By walking in the door and saying, "Just looking." Walking in the door and saying, "We don't have a lot of time." Walking through the door saying, "I'm shopping." Walk through the door saying, "When are the new ones coming out?" Walk through the door and say, "All I want is a figure in my trade." Walk through the door and say, "We're not really interested in showing us anything. We just want to look." All of these conditions that we faced, as far as the entry-level comments by the customers, we knew what? It would shut down the competition. When a typical average salesperson heard the term "just looking," they would turn off. We saw this every time with our shopping reports. When somebody said, "I'm on my lunch hour," they would turn off or challenge them, saying, "Why did you come in now?" If someone said they're just shopping, they would turn off by saying, "Well, how many dealerships have you been to?" "Just want a brochure." "Oh my goodness, just a brochure. Is that all I have going here?" Not ready to buy yet. Looking for a member of the family who's not with me. I don't have a lot of time. Just stop by. Was over at the mall. I'm going to sell my trade. If that didn't challenge the average competitor and start to turn them off, there would be another series of statements that they would make. "What can I buy that for?" "What would the payments be on that?" "I wouldn't pay over X number of dollars for that car." "What would my payments be on this?" "What's my trade worth?" Or the customer would be asked this: "What do you want to spend? What do you want for your trade? What payments did you have in mind?" And the reaction by the customer to those questions would be a very low figure that would do what? Turn off the salesperson. How much do you want to put down? Common conversations. This is the vocabulary, this is the dialogue between the average customer and the average salesperson. The customer, we knew, was not the enemy. We knew that this is how they came in to do what? Protect themselves. What's the ultimate excuse they could give for walking into an environment they've never been to? Look, I don't have a lot of time. Just give me the best price. What else would they say? And that would leverage and deflate the average salesperson. So the key is handling the liabilities and the variables of the conversation so that I don't get trapped and stop. Because what would I say to any of those statements? What would the payments be? As far as I'm concerned, folks, whatever it takes for you to do business. What would your trade be worth? Well, you don't want me to look at it. I'm not the pro, but we'll have our buyer look at it. Not appraiser, buyer look at it. You're not buying today? Fine, I understand. It all starts somewhere, doesn't it? So all of those statements they made, I deflected every one of them. Because that was not the issue. That was their disguise. That was their posturing of themselves to give themselves a little bit of elbow room in the dealership. All I cared about was what? What type of vehicle you're looking for. That's what I cared about. And what would you like with it? What are your wants and needs? And if I wasn't sure and they weren't sure, I would sit them down, offer them refreshments, and counsel with them. So that when we got up to take a direction, we would be heading for something that would be important to them. But we had no hesitation in sharing all the information. I want a price before I'll do anything. Okay. I understand. And I won't do anything until I get a price. Okay. We go get him a price. So what? The competition wasn't going to give him one. And once the person received the price, they'd either stop and leave, or they start to stabilize and we get into it. But so what? We knew that we could close 30% of the people first time, but we knew that 70% of the people who didn't complete the purchase, we hoped that the majority at least selected a vehicle. Because if they selected a vehicle, we would get our shot at the big profitable group, which are the B-backs that bought and closed at a ratio of 60%, month in, month out. Now, why do we know it? Because we had greeters who were our accountants. They told us how many people came in, who they were with, who waited on them. We gathered all of that information so that we could do what? Position ourselves properly for the customer. So we were working with analytics, if you will. Analytics are so important to a professional sales organization. So important. Why? The pitcher in baseball. If you are a serious manager or a serious fan, what's his ERA? What's his strikeout rate? What's his history of doing business? Analytics. Goaltender. What's the goaltender's ratios? That's how you measured professionals who are in a performance business. Is not a salesperson a professional ultimately in a performance business? If a person is going to be a pro product specialist, he or she would know how many people they've waited on, how many people selected a car, how many people got a demonstration ride, how many people received prices, how many offers they received. They would have that measured so that they would pick out their strong and know their strong suits and work on the ones that weren't as strong. So it wasn't who's who, it was the performance in those areas. So the roadmap is greeting, presentation, demonstration, selection, price, and follow-up. So the people who concentrate on that, the process, and measure how many of these develops a profile of success and or opportunity. It's not a critique to know what you did or didn't do. It's an education to what? To the road of success. The business is ridiculously simple. First of all, a pro cannot find an argument with a customer. Price is too high, aren't they all? I want payments of $300 a month on that $70,000 car. Can I get them? Absolutely. I'm going to shop all over the place. I don't blame you. As far as I'm concerned, whatever it takes. They are not going to get a struggle with me, because if they give me a statement that is partial disguise and I challenge the statement, what are they doing? Now they're now backing up a disguise. And when they back up a disguise, they start to polarize and start heading for the door. So I'm forcing them to stop the interview by disagreeing with what they're saying. But when I displace those verbal challenges by saying, I understand, and keep moving towards the selection, what happens the moment says to themselves, and I can watch their reaction, they say, I like that one. What happens now to those excuses? Most of them disappear. And that 10-minute visit turns into 2 hours because I let it happen. So the key is to eliminate the roadblocks. That's the key. The key is to not disagree with the customer. And I'm not saying I'm agreeing with them. I'm acknowledging what they say. I didn't say agree with them. I'm acknowledging, I hear you. Let's first find the vehicle you like, or the product in other businesses. Let's find the vehicle you like, and we will then sit down and not gamble with your money, but give you specific numbers or options. What are the words that an amateur uses? Are you a buyer today? How can you ask that question? They haven't even picked anything yet. If the price is right, will you buy? What does that word, negative word, if, mean? Maybe not. Why do I want to imply that? Folks, other than price, it's very important. We agree. But other than price, is that the product you'd like to see at home? Is that the product you'd like to see in the yard? In the driveway? That's what I care about at the moment. We'll get to numbers, they're very important. but I don't want to gamble with your money. I want to be specific with you. I'm making sure the numbers stay out of the equation by saying, yes, it is important, but other than the price, not if the price is right. It's going to be right. Other than the price. I want to keep it positive. The customers are looking. They don't even know it, but they would love to find someone who says, regardless of your intention to buy, I'm here to offer you all the services that you are entitled to. They love to see us be proactive, not hesitate. Not say, go home and get your wife and come back. No. She's not with you. Let's do it right now. Give you the information. It is so easy to concentrate on the process and the forward motion of a customer. It makes the world completely simple. It makes it completely simple. I've got this off. I've got the process. I know what the process is. I know what a presentation is. It's doing it with anybody that counts. Not worried about who is a buyer, who isn't a buyer. A potential buyer only establishes themselves when they select a vehicle or when they select a product. If there is no product selected, no chance. And I can't do that 100%. Sometimes I won't have the right product. But if they like the way I handled and work with them, what could they do? Sometimes they can't afford it. They find out they can't afford it. What would happen? Well, there was this lady in Virginia who couldn't afford the vehicle, but she was so impressed with the way she was received and taken seriously that she sent in 6 buyers in the next 2 months. Now, what kind of a reward was that to wait on her? It's just fantastic. Proactive. No worries. Don't worry about it. Competition is not going to compete with you, I promise you. And if you doubt what I'm saying, go shop. I promise you, you'll be a convert before this is over. So the world is open to a very progressive organization that says the customer is our best commodity. We know how they're going to come in. We know how to deflect challenges that can only become roadblocks if we handle them wrong. Not them, we handle them wrong. Let the people do what they're going to do as long as they follow us. Word tracks are very, very important. Word tracks that offer a challenge are words like, would you like to? Let's go take a peek at. What am I doing? I know what I'm going to do. Why would I ask them? If I say, would you like to? Why would I be a quarterback leaving the huddle and go to the opposite team and say, that's what we discussed? Would you like to be? No, we're going to throw the ball? It's ridiculous. They want to be led by someone who knows what they're doing and how to do it. They want to be surprised with a great presentation that we will get into. So this morning, I just wanted to open our minds, if you will, to not complicate a business. The best thing, the only thing you can do is play every hole of the game. Run the bases. And any one of these processes that I'm talking about are steps of a process of a sale. The key is they have to complete the steps if you at a high level if you're going to be successful. I don't know if they're going to buy today. All I know is that when they left this dealership, that I did the best I could to give them all the information that they could ever have to do business, whether they were all buyers here or not, because I know the competition is not going to do that. And in fact, the people that make me look good are the people that everybody else is concerned about, the competition. Who makes me look good when I give and offer this information? It's the salesperson who turned off because they said they're shopping. They made me look good. So the people who actually support me the most are the competition. I have nothing to worry about except doing the process correctly and for the customer. That's the message today. Any questions? Bob Purdon is my name. Number is 954-600-0413. I live in Stuart, Florida. Any questions you might have, disagreements, whatever, don't hesitate to give me a call. And also, I'd love to hold a meeting in your dealership via teleconference and discuss these features that I think your salespeople would be very impressed with if they really understood it. So any questions, look forward to it, and have a great day. Thank you.